Next is to create what will effectively be the brain of the bike, and that I've cut to size to fit in there, and it'll be packed out with a piece of ply, and these will be the fixing holes. I've recently been riding the bike for a few test rides as a single speed, and I'm really impressed by it at the moment, and showing real potential to be a nice fast bike. So I'm really keen now to see it come to life. So to do that, I have drawn out this circuit diagram so that I can get it all soldered up and working, hopefully. This is where the Arduino is going to go, there, so it's going to be like that. The inputs, outputs to and from the bike are going to come in here. The board will be cut pretty much down the middle there, all the tracks will be cut, apart from these three, and two of them are ground and 5 volts. That ground and 5 volts is going to go to this Bluetooth module, which will be here. I'm going to permanently solder that on because they tend to shake loose and disconnect otherwise, modules like that. The Arduino I will keep in a socket so that I can change it if necessary. Communication to the power meter will be with this NRF module, which is going to go there. Hopefully in the future I will get a Bluetooth low energy enabled Arduino Nano so that I can program it for ANT+ communication with the power meter instead. So this will hopefully be a temporary measure. And that's pretty much it to say about the layout of this at the moment. It's not perfect, finalized on here. I will tweak it as I go along, but let's get soldering. So that's most of the soldering done, or at least enough for the moment. So next I'm going to move on to the power side of things. So that means getting the two 18650s wired up into a battery pack. I've also installed this switch here, which I can operate externally, which is going to be a great improvement on having to open the saddlebag. I've got this charging port here, which is going to be in between the seat stays on the bike. The basic wiring done, enough to get the servo to actually function. I've got the Bluetooth module here connected up to this phone, and some basic code on the Arduino, and I can put a value in here and the servo will go to that position. Like that. So next is to fit it all into this box here, and we can then bolt this onto the bike, install the two cables, and that means we can then gain some control over the hub using this phone as a shifter. And then we can move on to wiring in the 3 reed switches and the 2 handlebar buttons, and then we can start getting the bike to shift on its own. This is probably my favourite part of the project, when everything starts to come together and all the hard work pays off. This will all have to come back out again because I want to finish off the paint and install the charge port as well, and the rectifier so that it can take AC from a front hub. But just to test out the shifting, I'm going to fit all this in here and see if it fits. So that's a piece of cable now installed onto the pulley. Obviously it has just plain ends, so you don't need a gear cable that's got an end on it. You can just use any old piece of cable. And this is going to then wrap around, turn like that on the other side, like so, and that will install that way up and there, and the cables come out the bottom so they can then turn about 180 degrees roughly. It's now time to screw the circuit board in. This is a piece of ply I'm going to screw it to. These rivets are sunk below the surface and covered with resin, so I'm not going to short anything out, hopefully. And it should fit in there like that, and I can screw it in. That feels nice and secure now. I'll have to tidy up these wires at some point. A bit of a mess, but they can stay in the corner there, and just insert the Arduino. Next is to install the servo pulley, and for that I put the servo in the middle of its travel. This wire's a little bit springy and difficult to get. Okay, we can put that on there like so, approximately. So just for fun, and because I'm waiting on buttons from China and also putting off installing reed switches, I made this really basic app for the phone to control the servo. It's only took a few hours to do yesterday evening, and what it does is I can control the servo slider and also plus and minus buttons. It's supposed to be plus and minus 3, but it seems a bit random. The next thing to do, once I get the outer cables installed, is to find the end stops inside the hub using this app, and then I can type them into these two text boxes here, and it will redo the ends of this slider and prevent the servo from shifting too far. And then I can go and test ride it, which will be fun, using this phone as a wireless shifter.